Afternoon, how's it going? Good, grand, great, fantastic. And in today's Jettisoned Lifepodcast, we're going to be talking about a plethora of subjects. We've got the Joker 2, changes to YouTube and how it might affect kiddie streamers or adult streamers or every kind of streamer. Kathleen Kennedy being a fucking moron. For some reason, CW's Crisis on Infinite Earth, even though really you should talk about that when it comes out, but whatever. Noah Hawley picked to direct Star Trek 4. Wow, way to reach for that bloody project. Elizabeth Banks using identity politics in a massive failed way. And whatever else comes to mind. And of course, we always finish off with Zam's top 5. So I would like to welcome my esteemed panel of whateverness. I've got Christine over there. I've got a new member to the stream, Brandon, the Crow of Judgment. Underneath, I have Darth Bobalorian, and at the bottom, I have Darth Zeta. And with that being said, Jason, you take the rest because I'm dying. I'm ill.
You're a sick motherfucker.
Okay, let's start with
Demonetized.
Yep.
Let's start with
Well,
YouTube
good night, kids.
Yeah.
Look,
So
I
you-
on this.
YouTube has always had problems with we've lost one.
Well, it's fine. He'll
They
be
killed
back.
Sidious. Brilliant.
Yeah, they've already demonetized him. It's coming for us next.
Yeah, they cut him out already. Okay, so YouTube changed some kind of laws in America called COPA, Children's Online Protection Agency, or Ask Bummery, or whatever. And basically, what it is a lot of kids' channels had problems, or channels that had kids in them. Basically, there was a problem with pedophiles on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
FTCs had to step in because YouTube weren't doing a goddamn thing about it. And any time, and this is no different, but anytime YouTube has done something, it affects everyone and they ruin it for everything, for everyone. And COPA is no different. So now basically it's put a lot of people in the shit because it's difficult because even if you tick off to say your channel is not for under 13s, they could still see it. The algorithm might still pick it up, or YouTube might manually put your channel to say no, this is absolutely fine for under 13s, and that means having like any kind of animation, maybe if it's geared towards adults, any kind of toy reviewers, gaming channels, all this kind of shit. It basically opens you up. So YouTube pass the buck on to us, saying that we're responsible for our content, and to say that it's not for kids under 13, yet the algorithm is so fucked that you could still get your content being pushed towards people that are under 13, which opens you up to being sued by the FTC, which I think it only really affects people in America. We're all right. We won't get sued.
Oh yeah, that's welcome to America, where everyone gets.
It's a country run by lawyers.
Like
what do you expect?
Yeah, it's no argument there.
Yeah,
it is. I think the biggest problem with YouTube in everything, and not only the age rating and the restrictions, but even the fair use and all that, just the entire setup of YouTube. I think things really started getting bad when it exploded, because I think the biggest problem as to why YouTube is having all these issues is that YouTube exploded really quickly, like massively. And not only did it explode, but you can, like, there are people literally making lots of money from YouTube.
Yeah.
Lots of money. And the moment you started having people make money, of course, there were a bunch of companies that were like, well, wait a minute, that's our content, they're showing, or that's our picture, our logos, our blah, blah, blah. So everything just started crashing together at that point. And what YouTube basically does, from what I've heard, because I've watched and read a lot of stuff about YouTube artists that are having trouble with it right now, and especially, am I allowed to say like other channels or brand name on the stream?
Whatever.
For example, there's two channels that have had a lot of problems with it. One is That Guy with the Glasses, or Nerd Reviews, and Markiplier, PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye. They're all YouTube stars that have had massive amounts of problems with this, with both issues. And
oh shit, so it's really hit them hard then.
Oh yes, I'm dead serious. For example, just recently,
good channels out.
There was a contest or an event that Markiplier did, where he did a live stream event where he did like one of those those books where like you choose the paths, like do you go down the tunnel or do you do this, like an option like that. Yeah. And he did a video with a bunch of other YouTube stars, and what you would do is, if you wanted to do right or left or this pathway, you would send an emoji in the live stream of doing that or that. Well, what happened was Markiplier had about a good, I think thousands actually, people were getting banned from YouTube, or getting banned from the live stream because they were emojiing and they were doing like more than one. I think there were some people who were just like doing like 5 or 6 emojis, and they were getting blocked. Weird. And then their accounts were being suspended simply because, according to the YouTube messages, they were spamming.
Right.
So they spammed, and then they get their account banned. And then some of them were like, would say something like, oh, that's the shit. And then it would be like, demonetized, you said a bad word. And it's like, what? It's like, really? And apparently he calls the, so Markiplier called him up, and he's been working to try and get his friends, his fans' accounts back, because, this really pissed him off. And apparently YouTube was literally just sitting there, and he calls up like he actually got a hold of one of the main board of directors. Yeah. And she was basically like, wait, what? Huh? And, so apparently everyone at YouTube is just sitting there like, oh, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they're completely clueless, though.
Yeah, they've literally given all of their effort into their algorithm, which sucks, and then they just ignore it. No one's doing anything.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And we've seen so many channels. Every time that YouTube have made changes, we've seen channels fall by the wayside. People lose their livelihoods, their income. And for me, I just, the first couple of changes were just, the big media attacking little media or independent media. Yeah. Because obviously the voices were getting, if you look at what some of the independent news media's impact has had in politics, it's incredible. So obviously they use
good Lord.
excuses to kind of try to destroy YouTube, to kind of silence those independent voices. So there's that, and now you have this one, which nobody even knows what to do with these changes. Like nobody knows where they stand, how they're affected, how not. There was a guy, Upper Echelon, who does brilliant gaming news, and he's saying that he clicked the option to say this channel is not for kids under 13, and yet somebody manually went and approved that his channel is for people under 13, and next to his recommended panel was people were saying that as a load of kids stuff was showing up. So it's like they don't even know how to enforce their own rules.
They don't even know how to categorize their own stuff. I mean, that's embarrassing. Wow, yeah, it's I don't know what's going on over there at YouTube, but something is like they've either immediately stopped caring, or they just don't care.
25 million channels to monitor, which I understand is tough, but you monitor the ones that have actual kids in it, not animations, not that ones that have kids in it.
Yeah, exactly.
They're the ones you keep an eye on.
Yeah, you got it. Take the stuff that you've got, that's only for very young audiences, and then all of the other stuff. I mean, you're adults. You look at ratings. You can read ratings, and you can just say, that stuff, let it go as it goes. But it's like when you have a rating on something, and you still watch it. It doesn't matter whether you're a kid or whether you're an adult. If you watch something that says, "Hey, this is rated R," or "This is not for you," and you still go on and watch it, that is not the fault of the video broadcaster or the creator. That is not their responsibility.
That's a parent's job.
Yeah.
And yet, for some reason, here in America, we're just like, it drives me insane. It really does drive me insane.
Wait, you're American?
You know what?
Yeah, I live in Northern California.
Nice to have another American on this show. You racist bastards.
Yeah.
Shut it, Yank.
But here's the thing that I don't expect to be hit by this. For example, 5-minute crafts for kids will not suffer at all, even though their videos are bullshit and downright dangerous. I bet my left butt cheek
that's quite the bet.
That it will not be affected by this.
That's a big ass bet.
That is very good.
It's
but
big
yeah. Bullshit channels like that will not be affected.
Right.
All.
It's that's the thing is that like I said, people are adults. I mean, you can see what channels will affect and what won't, and what channels are worth a damn and what aren't. But it's like what bugs me is that if you have a video, if you have content, you've got rating and you've got a set, and you've got, it literally says, copyrighted by this, there should be no problem. But no, you have to go so much further than that nowadays because of all this, because I guess money, but it's, what really bugs me is that, when you have content, and it says a rating, it has something listed on it. There is no physical way that someone should be able to look at you when you've gone through all the channels, put a rating, put not safe for this, or not safe for work, this. You've put up all your labels, and they can still just be like, no, I don't like that. That should not be okay.
Yeah.
Because that would be like me going up and setting up, a food truck out by one of the malls here, and me going to get a permit, getting my livelihood set up, getting ready to, sell everything, following all the health code safeties, doing all the steps, and then having someone come by and be like, I don't like the fact that your food truck is Chinese food, so you're out of here. That's literally the same thing. It's just dumb.
Yeah.
It really is.
It really is.
It's greed at its finest here.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I was about to say that I no longer stream on YouTube because they demonetize everything I do. I love streaming video games. I've gone on to Twitch now. It's the better place to be anyway, but I went onto YouTube initially because more people have YouTube accounts than they do Twitch accounts. And I thought to myself, okay, if I start doing my streaming here, I'll get noticed, but what's the point if you're constantly getting demonetized over everything? I mean, I forget sometimes to switch off the music in my games. It's an innocent thing, but I do, and that's it. The video's taken down, or I swear, obviously, I swear all the bloody time.
Yep.
So Twitch is what it is for me. I hardly do anything on YouTube anymore. This is it. This is about as YouTube as I get. I mean, I watch stuff on YouTube because the bigger channels have kind of like got a foundation, and they've got their Patreon accounts and stuff, and they're making money elsewhere. But anyone like myself, small with fucking a handful of subscribers, it's impossible to get going. You really got to have that it factor to get going nowadays. You
really do, and that's something I've actually been talking about a lot with a bunch of people. Like if I ever. I do my games like the once again I'm allowed to say brand names and stories and titles, right?
Anything.
Gotham. I do a game, Gotham by Night.
I'm in it.
World of Darkness, starring Miss Christine over here. Always making a mess. But It's basically World of Darkness with like vampires, werewolves, mages, etc., set in Gotham City, in futuristic Gotham City, cyberpunk-esque. It's really fun. And I stream that to YouTube through StreamYard here, and occasionally through Hangouts. But it's like that kind of works. I think the only reason that I never really get a lot of bother from YouTube is because my videos have such low views. But because no one ever really wants to watch stuff like that anymore. But in all honesty, you're right. For example, I fell in love with Critical Role. Like, I love those guys. I think that they're really awesome. I like every single one of those people. And I would love to do something like LA by Night or Critical
you guys
Role.
know Critical Role, by the way? Because you
It's-
look like you
I've
were...
actually heard of them through.
Geek and Sundry.
Yeah, if you don't know them, they're partnered with Geek and Sundry channel, which also does a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
They do everything tabletop.
I heard of
and
them
they do
through somebody. An
yeah,
actress.
they do board games. They do
D&D.
D&D. Like, for example, one of the most popular things is D&D, where they film a lot of fairly popular voice actors that are in this group, and they sit around a table and play Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. And this is their second campaign they've done, because they did one called Vox Machina, and it was a very popular hit. And they've done such a good job. They even have enough money. They fundraised to Kickstarter to make a Dungeons and Dragons anime, which is now going to come out.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, they kickstarted it, and they needed about $700,000, because in order to put on 30 minutes of animation, low budget, onto a popular broadcast channel on TV, after all funds are said and done, you need about $700,000 for 30 minutes.
Jesus
Now,
Christ.
yeah. Now, you want to know how much they raised with the Kickstarter?
Double that.
A little over 10 million.
10 million.
Yeah, so
Imagine how many people watch it.
right. So what happened was,
My
get
God.
this. I'm getting to my point. I'm sorry, I tend to tangent a lot, but
It's all right.
what they do is they went out to a bunch of animation studios and got turned down by every single one, because no one thought that D&D would make a good anime. And then they raised a Kickstarter, and they beat their Kickstarter in one day.
They got 10 million in one day.
Well, no, they didn't get
no,
10
their
million
goal.
in one day. At the
Oh,
end,
just
they got 10
their
million.
Their goal.
No, they did get 1 million the first day. They did get 1 million the first day. And so obviously people want a D&D anime.
Yeah, nerds are passionate, man.
Yeah, and for example, I would love to do what they do. I would love to, if I can't get a group of friends, at least sit down around a digital table, or maybe around a digital map, like Roll20 or something, and run a thing like Critical Role does. But the thing is that, and I still kind of do that, but it's like, there's obviously no way I'm going to profit from it, because no matter what I
not
do,
the way YouTube runs now.
right? And no matter what I do in that department, even if, well, I would probably do it on Twitch, but even if I went through and did that,
We swear
There's
too
no-
much.
there's no way that I could really at least make a profit from it unless I've got something, out there that's different, that's new. Because that's another thing about YouTube and even Twitch, is everyone's doing it. So when you get out there
This is it.
and want to do your thing, not only do you have to deal with all this bullshit on YouTube if you're doing YouTube, but even when you get out there, how is anyone ever going to notice your channel?
Yeah.
How are you
everyone's
ever
already
going to
doing
be
it, and-
right? How is
Yeah.
how are you going to get your name out there?
Yeah.
Because when the big stars started it, like PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, and all them, they were kind of the first to do it. They were the first out there. They were the first big names out there that actually started doing all this stuff. And
They
now,
annoy the fuck out of me.
right, and now there's so many people out there that it's really hard to get yourself known and out there. It's like, and I've known some really good channels that, like, for example, there's a guy I know. He did a lot of gaming. He would do like gaming stuff, like for the games. Anyone here ever play Myth or Myth 2?
No.
Like the old, they're old top-down RTS strategy games, but rather than going through and making a base like Command and Conquer or Lord of the Rings or Warhammer, you would literally start a level with a certain amount of units, and that's all you'd get. And you'd have to strategize your way through the levels. And he did a great walkthrough and rundown of that game, and I almost see no one do those games. Like, most people hardly ever know what those games are. And yet
Yeah,
those
that's
games,
why nobody does them, though.
right?
Because
Yes,
it's,
yeah.
Right, but here's the thing.
Yeah, this
It
content.
was right. Here's the thing, though. He did really good videos and really good walkthroughs. He didn't just do myth; like, he did some Warhammer stuff as well. But he did great walkthrough videos, and yet his videos hardly ever have more than so and so 100 views. He doesn't even get to 1,000 views on a lot of his videos, despite the fact that he's really good at what he does. But he can't get his name out
as well. You've got to. It's got to be something that everyone's going to be interested in.
right.
Yeah,
It's
that's
so. I guess if I want to do well, I have to immediately do a game on a video on Fortnite.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Anyway, let us move on to the next topic because we went in long enough. Man, your tangents.
Well, you're a
Yeah,
tangent.
the tangents is a bit too much, man. I was like,
Tangents is what it's all about, baby.
honestly, mate, I was like, okay, I don't know what the fuck we're talking about anymore. But anyway, let's
No worries.
continue.
All right, Joker 2 has been greenlit. I think we all saw
Yes.
that coming because money, obviously. Most successful comic book movie of all time in terms of
Right.
budget to profit ratio. So obviously they're going to make a sequel. I loved the first one. I absolutely loved it.
I haven't watched it yet.
You haven't watched it yet.
I have seen.
Actually, Birdie's watching it right now.
I do a lot of. I'll review movies sometimes for my friends, so I haven't seen the whole movie all the way through, but I've seen a lot of key scenes of the movie, so I can at least put some opinion on it.
Don't worry, we're not going off on a tangent talking about Joker 1. I've just said the first one was good. They've greenlit the second one, and just want to get people's thoughts. What do you reckon? Should they have greenlit it?
I hope they don't
What should
fuck
they
it up.
cover? Let's go
So,
with
Roberto,
15.
you start, mate. You start, Roberto. Go and get a word in.
I mean, the thing with the Joker is I feel like it was a really good one-off movie. I'm kind of curious as to where they would go with it. You know what I mean? I feel like it was a really good one-off, but it's just like, where do you go from here without going full comic book? And they've already said they don't want to go full comic book with it.
Right.
They have an incredible first movie, but it's almost one of those situations where it's like, do we really need, maybe we want a sequel, and obviously the money, the stockholders want a sequel, but do we need a sequel? And that's, I feel like, honestly, if they left well enough alone, it would probably be good, but we know they're going to do it, and we know everybody's going to hate it compared to the first movie. And it's not going to, unless they find some weird bolt of lightning that just makes it work for a second movie based on the same character. But I don't know. My thoughts on it is just that the first one was the Joker movie we needed, not the Joker movie that we wanted. And I think that we don't need a sequel.
I agree.
I agree as well.
I'm of the view that when you do something good, it's best to end it on a high note,
right,
than risk fucking it up. Like the same thing, for example, with gaming wise, The Witcher 3. There were people that so wanted a sequel. And it was like, guys, no, let it end.
Story's over.
With something that is good, really good.
And with the Joker,
with
the Joker movie specifically, especially after Joker 1 coming, and now they've greenlit Joker 2. They've already said they don't want to go full comic book with it. So that means they're probably obviously not going to do any crossovers, at least nothing big. And no, they're not going to put, at least from what I understand, they're not going to put Joaquin Phoenix's character Joker into the DC crossover universe right now. At least I don't think they are. They may. I don't know.
Well, it's Warner Brothers, and
right.
If its popularity becomes too big, they're just gonna be like, well, fuck it. We've got a gold mine here, so we're just gonna shove him in everything.
Yeah, I think I think my final thought on it, with my opinion here is, I agree with everyone. I don't think we need another one. But if they are willing to maybe do something different with it, like if they're going to make maybe a darker universe and maybe do a couple movies, not just Joker, but maybe some other stories as well, coming into like this mixed world, I think you could potentially do something good with that. I don't think that's what they're going to do. So I don't think we really need another Joker movie, because I think the one right now is it's good enough, and that was a great masterpiece. But if they really want to actually go and do something unique with the second one and actually maybe make like, and start doing maybe a couple crossovers, but like in a different universe, or maybe darker, or maybe go for like a what if thing, that could potentially be good. I see, but I don't think they're going to do that, and I don't think we really need another Joker movie.
Well, and I think,
sorry,
I was just gonna say, I think Joaquin Phoenix is one of those actors that just like he won't, like, I think he only signed on for I believe he only signed on for the one movie so far. Like, and I can see Joaquin Phoenix being like, if he doesn't like the script and he doesn't like where the character is going, he'll be like, no, I'm not doing it.
I hope.
It's got, if they make a sequel to this, it has to be Joaquin Phoenix who does it. If they can't get him, then they have to scrap it. They can't have somebody else fill in the shoes. Now, right. I initially was very skeptical of, say, Toy Story 4, for instance. It turned out to be just as good as the previous ones. If they do make a Joker 2, I don't want it to be, not as good as the original. It has to be on par. They really have to really work on a really good script to make it on par. Obviously, it's going to be, it won't be a origin story. So where do you take it? I don't want it to be all comic bookish. Joker is the protagonist, antagonist. We're following him. It's all about him. We don't need Batman and all that shit. We don't need other villains and all that shit. Let's keep it on him if they definitely make a second one. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
This is the way.
So let's move it along to a topic I have no idea what it is about.
Really?
Bob, Sam, all yours.
No. I'm not up to date on this stuff. Unfortunately, I've missed a few episodes. I do apologize.
Jason?
I mean, I just wanted. I mean, I didn't know if there's a lot of talk about all the crisis stuff and everything. I just figured if we had anything to talk about with it.
Now, see, I saw. This is obviously something new, Crisis on Infinite Earths, because I saw the movie, the animated movie that DC did, Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Oh, and, Crisis on Two Earths.
Crisis on Two Earths, sorry. And yeah, that one was really good.
Well, what I mean, okay, so the CW verse then, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what here? These are some of the things that I've been pondering, watching everything build up. Do you think that they are going to condense all the CW verses into one universe at the end of this?
No.
I don't think they are, because I think, for example, the new DC like Plus or DCU thing that they're doing. It's kind of like Disney Plus, where like you subscribe and you get to see all these DC shows like Teen Titans and all that.
Oh yeah, DC Universe. I have it.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep it separate, because then they can do more shows, and they can be like, hey, you can look at this, you can watch. If they condensed it all down, I think they'd have a little bit less to show. And I think in terms of a profitable or money making sense, I think they're probably going to keep it separate, because that allows them to do more variation on shows. Whereas if they just cram everything together, it would just be like one or two shows, I guess. At least that's my guess, if I was to take a guess.
Would you guys like it to be one universe? And I get it. The DC universe like app shows are separate. I think that even if I'm just talking CW shows. Like, I know there's rumors that the Titans might be in crisis, at least for a moment. Small, but I'm just talking CW shows. Do you want them to condense all of those shows, like Supergirl and Black Lightning and all that, into one universe?
No, are we talking about actually Earth 38 then being part of Earth 1?
Yes.
See, that for me that makes no sense, because there's doppelgangers on every Earth. I mean, what happens to them? I mean, like,
they go bye-bye.
Sorry?
And that's what they have to deal. They go bye-byes. All the people who don't get spared in the crisis
why
and
doesn't-
the antimatter explosion.
Theoretically, I'm like so only Supergirl survives from Earth 38. Then everyone around her.
No, not everybody. I mean, you could still carry over Martian Manhunter. You could still.
But why we're picking certain people? I mean, like I just
because they're.
But there's like initially a few years ago there was only 53 Earths. Then obviously another world said that there's fucking infinitive Earths. So there's infinitive Earths. How do you merge everyone together? I just don't get it. You know, like
you don't merge. I'm talking about condensing. Like only core cast members from those shows get condensed into like now in the new half of the season they have to make new lives on Earth 1. And they only get spared because they're a part of that group of people who was fighting the Anti-Monitor. And they have to deal with the ramifications of that.
There's several Earths. I mean, a gazillion Earths they could go to. There's also so I'm losing my train of I'm losing my train of thought here. But the Flash has always jumped between different parallel universes. He's still going to obviously do that surely after the crisis, you know. But he's going to survive that. You know,
I'm just throwing the question out there.
I just can't fathom how it works without there being serious plot holes, and there's already serious plot holes in the CW Arrowverse. It just boggles my mind. We'll just see what happens.
Agreed.
I'm falling out of love with the shows as well, anyway. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I really liked the shows when they started, like the Flash, Arrow, and all that, and I thought they were genius shows. But to do what you're saying is to throw everything together. Personally, I don't want to see that because I'd rather see, two separate universes going. Because one thing I always really wanted to see in the universe, and then they finally did it, was when the Flash and Arrow were going, was I wanted to see crossover. I wanted to see my heroes, my favorite characters interact with one another. And I did. And they delivered, and it was fun. But to take, when you've got as much as you do now, and you're just going to shove it all into one, either you do just one and have just the Flash, Barry Allen and like all these people, like the standard, heroes in one universe, or you do it in two. And what I mean by that is, if you're going to do one universe, if they're going to put it into one universe, just do like a standard Earth or do a standard setup. Like, for example, if they were going to do a Justice League TV show, you have all the members of the Justice League and there you go. Or maybe you have some others, in there as well. And you keep it just to that Earth. The moment they start throwing a lot of Earths and start mixing stuff, everything always tends to just blow up.
They can merge just maybe 2 or 3 parallel universes. That could, maybe we could buy that, but all of them, no.
So you're saying like maybe only spare like Earth 1, Earth 2, or no, Earth 2's already gone. Earth 38 and I don't know what
Earth 137.
Yeah,
that's the only Earth that matters.
Another thing you could do. Another thing you could do, if you wanted to, that could make it a little bit simpler, is take characters that aren't the mainstream characters and do it with them. But like, the only thing I'm worried about is because of all the multi-theory things that have started to go around, like the moment you start throwing things together, it just becomes a mess like it did in the comics. And that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried they're just gonna throw it together and it's just gonna be plot hole central.
It's already a mess.
Getting there, and now it's gonna be even more plot hole central. But I think if they, it's a tough question because part of me wants it just to be all in one universe and all the characters to interact with another. But another part of me is like, well, they did the whole multi-theory thing and now they kind of shot themselves in the foot. So I would say I would like to see them separate. But if they condense it, I won't be really, angry. But
so you're saying like 2 or 3 Earths instead of like infinite.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that goes on to my next question if we have time. Do you want to see a version, like a CW version of the Justice League, where you have like Flash, Batwoman, like they all have their individual shows, but like maybe they do like miniseries.
I would love to see that.
Like, where it's like, they would only do like, it would be it'd be a miniseries. So it'd be separate episodes, but it would be like 4 or 5 episodes, and they would just handle this thing, but they all come together for it. Like, they make the crossover its own series every year, or like twice a year or something like that. But it's called like CW's Justice League of America or CW's JLA.
That'd be interesting. I'd tune in.
I'm getting a little bit fatigued by all of this, to tell you the truth. I don't want them to keep bringing out show after show. Like, it's hard to catch up with everything. And then when you start feeling like you're missing out, you think to yourself, I can't be bothered then. And that's what's happening to me. I can't fit all these bloody shows.
Right. I agree with that. And I think that what he said right there was only doing it maybe once or twice a year, or doing it in a lower number of episodes. I think that would be I'm happy.
I'm always happy with a crossover, but still, like, they're throwing on the Batwoman. I mean, that was a serious gamble, in my opinion. A really like niche character in that. For fuck's sake, on her own, not part of a contingent like the fucking Legends are, which is a little bit more bearable. But I'm just feeling like I'm having my fill of all this shit. I'm waiting for Crisis to happen.
Damn. You still got Superman coming as well.
Oh yeah.
What is it? Superman and Lois instead of Lois and see, that's the thing. I don't want a Superman show. I like the Superman they have in the CW verse, but I don't want it. I would love it if Brandon Routh, like Kingdom Come Superman, like his Earth got destroyed and then he stayed in like the CW verse or something like that. Like, and he became the Superman on the JLA instead of. But I mean, like, I hear Legends of Tomorrow might be canceled, not because of ratings, because actually it's doing really well, but because they're kind of running out of ideas at this point and they don't want to beat a dead horse. And I'm thinking Legends has always been a shorter series. So it's like, why not replace that with a full on? Because I always thought Legends of Tomorrow was going to be like their version of the JLA. And I mean, it really didn't turn into that because they were showing like the Flash was going to be in it and Arrow, the Oliver Queen was going to be in it, but it really didn't turn out to that. But I really feel like they should really buckle down. Like, I mean, if the DCEU sucks ass as much as it does, demonetized, then they really need to just buckle down and just be like, look, we're the best thing going for the DC television universe right now. So we're staking our claim to JLA because your movie sucked. And I'm not going to say it sucked because I actually liked it, but like it sucked at the box office. So it's like, why not let CW lead the charge? And I mean, everybody knows the multiverse theory. If they watch the CW shows, they know the multiverse theory. So it's not like you're confusing fans. And people who only watch the movies don't care. So it's like, just let them do it. Like, let them.
There are people that are watching the movies.
Roberto, what I want, is less episodes and more budget.
Agreed.
I can see that. Yeah, it's just way too much, man. Ridiculous. Less episodes, more budget. I'll be happy with that.
Well,
anyway,
they did like a Netflix thing.
Let's move on, man. Let's move on.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't understand a thing.
Well, it isn't all about you.
Of course, it's all about me. I'm the only one who matters.
Typical.
Anyway. So I don't know who the fuck that is, or why he's an idiot. I don't know that either, guys.
All yours, Roberto.
All right. So is this about is this the Charlie's Angel one, or are we not at that one yet?
No, we're not at that one.
No, that one we're saving for last. So if people they've already watched for a while.
I will probably stay silent on this one because I know absolutely nothing about Kathleen Kennedy, so I will black out.
Yeah, who the fuck is that?
Okay, Ginger, do you want to take this one, or do you want me to?
Oh yeah, no worries. I was looking at the wrong thing. I was looking at the Star Trek 4 thing. My bad. So Kathleen Kennedy, in an interview,
friend.
Yeah, our best friend, in an interview with
somebody,
in an interview with Rolling Stone magazine, said that. Okay, I just have to get it here verbatim. Every one of these movies is a particularly hard nut to crack. There's no source material. We don't have comic books. We don't have 800-page novels. That's the gist of what she said with regards to Star Wars and the films they're working with. I mean, how fucking stupid are you to ignore the hundreds of novels, the comic books that Marvel themselves have printed since Disney bought Lucasfilms, and you're saying you have nothing to work with? I mean,
that is
basically she's saying, well, I mean, yeah, we could use the other law from the other things, but then we have to pay royalties to those authors. We don't want to do that. We're Disney. We like to control everything. From the minute you put ink to pen to the minute it's put out in the cinema, we want to control every creative aspect of this property, and nobody else gets a penny.
Yeah, that pisses me off, because there are a lot of Star Wars novels that I would love to see made into movies. Like, there's hundreds of them. You got content that you've already got content going, and heck, we've seen what you've done with your own content in Star Wars, and you're fucking it up. So why don't you go and take something that's actually worked already? You know, it's yeah. That's exactly. I agree. That's idiocy right there.
Yep.
Star Wars needs to die.
Shut up, woman. Jason, Zam, let's go with Zam.
Yeah, seeing that comment, she just buried herself personally, and I think she's going to be at the door. I mean, we already heard the rumors of Jon Favreau possibly being taking over. And he's the ideal person, because he is, unlike she is, a Star Wars fan, and that's the biggest problem with Star Wars. She's not. She finally got it when she got Favreau involved in making The Mandalorian. She finally fucking got it there, but it was a bit too late. I mean, she got people like Rian Johnson, who claims to be a Star Wars fan, and I do mean claims, to make that piece of shit Last Jedi. I mean, I can't wait. I mean, you know what? Just keep burying yourself, Kathleen Kennedy. This is good stuff. You know what? This is good. We should rejoice in this, because maybe she'll be out the fucking door sooner than we think if she keeps fucking acting like an idiot, all the fucking time. This is great. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just to add on that like the sheer lack of creativity shows when you pay $100 million just to get J.J. Abrams back to fix the mess. And the fact is that Rian Johnson was not like even pulled to one side or had anything said. The minute he said, he even like tears up Abrams' plan and says, no, I'm going to do my own thing. And nobody called him on that. Yet all the other side projects with Star Wars, there was problem after problem after problem, firing after firing after firing. So what the hell made it so different? Exactly that meme there. What the hell made the main trilogy so different in that she's stuck with J.J. Abrams, who's, I don't really rate him at all. Visually, he does beautiful things, but his scripts are always just dumbed down garbage, and his films usually just meh. And then Rian Johnson, who completely shit the bed with everything, and now you're going back to fix this, and then you go and say stupid shit like that. Like, she lives in this weird little fucking Hollywood bubble, detached from fans, detached from the very thing she's in charge with. She's like,
well, you know what? I think someone said it earlier best. I think she knows all about it. I think they're just being greedy Fs right now. I think they know exactly what they could do.
Control, yeah,
I think I know exactly what they could do. They could do a lot of media on it. They just don't want to pay that extra royalty.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's too stupid to figure out that what she's saying is going to be figured out as being incorrect, because they have.
Yeah, right. Yeah. She's right there. It's like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, what I'd love to see is some of those books adapted to like just animated one-offs. Would be really nice.
Agreed. I agree. I really think that they should go for that. I mean, like we were saying earlier with Critical Role and everything. I would love to see animation done on some of these books out here in some of the expanded universe. Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Demonetized.
You can also do, like if you go into like the DC route where it's like you do animated movies based off of some of like the source material, you can bring back Harrison Ford, and I mean, let's talk Disney money here. Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, to do voice acting. I mean, I know we can't have Carrie Fisher come back, so we'd have to probably recast Princess Leia. But in some of this expanded universe stuff, like there's some good stuff there. You know, like
I actually got to speak with Mark at a con down at Comic-Con one time, and when I spoke with him, I asked him about that. I said, "Hey, you know, how big are you on animation?" And he's like, "Dude, I'll do animation all day, especially if it's Star Wars." And so, you know, he's always up for it.
he loved to show up in his pajamas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm moving on. Star Wars needs to die.
Yeah, I don't know. Who wants to take this one?
I'll take it. I mean, I'm a Trekkie.
Yeah, you take it. Whoever, I don't care.
You mean the Kelvin universe Star Trek 4?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about this. Okay.
So I mean, this is the director who did Legion and that created Legion and all these things, which was actually pretty visually and creative. I mean, I think. So I think this is probably a good change. But I mean, honestly, with the Kelvin universe, it's kind of like, let's just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. I'm more excited about, and I haven't bought CBS All Access yet, but with a lot of these Star Trek things coming out on CBS All Access, I'm kind of more excited for that stuff, like Picard and Below Decks, and Discovery, in my opinion, is garbage, but I haven't watched the past few seasons. So I don't know. I mean, I just think this is a good change of pace for Star Trek. I mean, but at the same time, it just feels like they're throwing crap at the wall and seeing what sticks. Damn.
It really does seem to be like that.
Yeah. But personally, I think the people who Paramount, they own Star Trek still. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Distribution rights.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think they're missing the trick. I mean, they have to follow the formula that worked initially. You know, they made a television series. These guys got super fucking popular, and then they turned them into films. That's what they've done with the original. They've done that with the next gen, and they're not doing that now. You know, they need to make good television content. Make these guys fucking household names. So we're looking forward to seeing a big budget version several years down the line in the cinema. That
this
works.
Is Captain Kirk.
Sorry?
This is Captain Kirk. Like, how much bigger do you want the name?
No.
Did
Sorry.
that guy die?
This is not William Shatner, dude. This is totally different. Yeah, this is not people you've watched for years. The real actor doing this shit for years. This is someone taking over the fucking role in a whole different fucking format. No, that's all bollocks. That's why it hasn't worked so well. Star Trek 3 was better than Star Trek 2. The Kelvin universe version, that is. That was a fucking flop. You know, people don't give a shit. You need to make us really care for these characters again. You know, and then these are just cash grabs. I do feel, even if they fucking put what's his face, Thor, Hemsworth as fucking Sin's dad again, it's still gonna fucking flop.
I think Star Trek is it just doesn't have the same kind of gravitas as Star Wars does in terms of audience, because it's a lot more limited in what they could do with it.
I disagree because of Orville.
Yeah, but that's all. Orville doesn't have to follow the same pattern as Star Trek.
But it does, and it works.
But it does, and it doesn't. It takes things and it makes it better.
That's what
they won't do that with Star Trek, because people would complain.
I think there's another reason, and this could just be completely wrong, but if I had to take a guess, I would say the reason Star Wars really kicked off when Disney took it, at least for the start, before it dies here very soon, unfortunately, is they've geared it towards kids. Star Trek has not done that route. They haven't gone towards the the cartoonish, the gearing towards kids. If Star Trek made a series, or if they just did a cartoon on the side or something, and they started gearing it towards kids, yeah, you'd probably see a buttload of money flow in. But you're right. I think it's more along the lines of Star Trek.
It's a different kind of universe to grab kids.
It is.
That's
it really is.
I was watching it as a kid, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, we watched it as kids.
We did. we did. Most kids nowadays wouldn't want to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
It's but yeah, I think that a lot of the old Star Trek shows had a theme and a motif and like what they did, and I don't see that in the newer ones. And I think you're right. I think they're just kind of throwing ideas at the wall and seeing if they can get something big going.
Well, look what they've done. In the end, they've just gone back to Picard
Yeah.
because nothing else works. So now Picard's coming with the series.
But, no. But here's the thing, though. Patrick Stewart wanted to do this, and I feel like with the Picard series, I don't think they're doing it. I mean, they might be doing it out of desperation, but I think it fits because Picard is as old as he was at the end of Next Gen, the series, and when they jump with the whole time travel shenanigans for Picard. So now we get to see how things are different. And honestly, I'm kind of because I've always wanted to see beyond Nemesis what happens. And I kind of want to see, even though Nemesis was just about garbage, I do want to see what happened beyond Nemesis. And all we've ever gotten is Star Trek Online. And although Star Trek Online is good, it still doesn't. I mean, I would love to see it in a media format rather than a gaming format.
Yes.
Too many prequels, yeah. We got to go forward.
Yeah, I agree. Too many prequels. Discovery.
Yeah. Way too many.
I think the only prequel that worked was Enterprise, and that's my opinion. I know people didn't like it. I like the show.
Well, you always like what people don't like, and you dislike what people generally like. You're like,
that's because there's a lack of class in this age of
no, snap,
I
girlfriend.
think it's a lack of taste on your part. But anyway,
On to the next subject.
should I go to the hot topic or should we move to the video
Yeah,
games first?
hot topic.
Okay, let's do the hot topic.
Here we go. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay,
Elizabeth.
gonna start.
Inflamed men, manly butch men.
We are
The reason
defeminized.
why.
Shut the fuck up! I'll mute the fucking all of you. Because here's the thing:
Oh,
Charlie's
go for
Angels has always been an idiotic concept, in my opinion. Like, I don't remember liking any of the movies, or wasn't it a series back in the day?
Yeah, it was a series in late 70s,
Yeah.
early 80s.
Yeah, I think it was stupid, and I don't know why she would call it female-led movie since they're Charlie's Angels, so they like belong to Charlie, like fuck Charlie. Like the concept is stupid. I don't understand why they keep redoing it. I mean, I believe that the previous one worked a lot better than. I don't even know the cast of this one, honestly. I've only like watched one of them. I don't find it interesting. I think it's shit. But it's bollocks to say that female-led action movies flop. Because, for example, look at Kill Bill.
Wonder
a female
Woman.
movie. Wonder Woman. Yeah, but I like Kill Bill because that was a fucking trilogy, or was it a duology? I don't remember.
Duology.
But hold on, wait, no, wait. But she said that male-led genre film. So, like, Wonder Woman is this is her point with that. Wonder Woman is, yes, a female-led movie, but it is in a male-dominated genre. That's why that one was successful.
And what's the difference? What's the
So what the
difference
fuck are
Charlie's
spy
Angels?
films then?
Yeah.
Spy films
Exactly.
are a male-led genre.
Look, I'm not defending her. I'm just saying that's
that was what she was saying. But even then, that still doesn't really make much sense because there are shows and movies I've seen that are more of a female generated setup, and it's gone into they've done perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I mean that's just her trying to make excuses for her movie sucking. But the thing about Charlie's Angels is there hasn't been a popular adaptation of it. For example, there was the old 70s show, which was probably the most popular one we got out of all of them. Because then they did the movie with, what was it, Lucy Liu, Drew Barrymore, and...
Charlize Theron.
Theron.
No. Drew Barrymore?
No, Drew
Cameron
Barrymore.
Diaz.
What's her name?
Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, and Lucy
There she
Liu.
is.
Yeah, Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, and Lucy Liu. And that one was a flop. They made a video game, which was shit. And then they did the only actual thing I've seen them do was a spin-off cartoon series that wasn't even really actually Charlie's Angels. It was just took the theme of it, which was called Totally Spies.
Yeah.
And that one actually did pretty decent. A lot of people liked it. It was it wasn't a male-dominated background, and everyone liked that one. It wasn't Charlie's Angels, but it was the same setup. You got 3 girls, they're secret agents, they've got this guy who gives them missions, etc.
Wow, you know what? I never connected the two.
Yeah, and his name was Jerry, and it was literally Charlie's Angels setup, and it did pretty good, and it was a decent cartoon show for what it was. It was hokey, it was cheesy, but it did what it wanted to do. It did the motif of the world, it did the themes, and it did okay. So, Elizabeth Banks, you're full of it.
I got it.
What makes it sad is just resorting to identity politics to lay blame.
Yep.
To make us look like the bad guys, and it's like, no, that's just pathetic. Charlie's Angels, as a premise, is outdated. Okay,
it should die.
The trailers, people will be sold on a trailer. Let's be honest. The trailers look cheesy, awful. It was like throwing the girl power thing in your face, where you don't need to do that. The original Charlie's Angels never did that. It was just like, we're spies, we're doing a thing. You don't have to chat a bunch of bollocks about shit that nobody cares about.
Right.
Okay. And the other thing is, they should have gone for a more somber Mission Impossible style film, because that would have garnered in a different audience, which is what you want. Was this one just brought nothing to the table? It was just glam sham garbage.
Right. I
with
think
a
you just brought up
routine in there.
Yeah, you just brought up the best point. I think you just brought up the best point. They made it about the girl power and not the story.
Yeah.
They made it about the image and not about the content. Because if they had just done a movie with an event happening Worlds Under Siege or whatever, and if they had filmed the commercials and filmed the movie just putting these girls in a situation that Ethan Hunt would go through, or 007 would go through, or another person would go through, and just had them do it's like, okay, there is a story happening, this is happening, they are the 3 to stop it. If you had just done that setup, then you would have been way better off.
Yeah.
But instead they had to make it,
point, what I want to say about this whole girl power thing, it's like they're trying so bloody hard to sell it to the female population. No, I'm sorry, this is not what I want to see, because it's like you're putting it out there as if it's something extraordinary, extravagant. No, it's something that just is,
Exactly.
They're women are humans too, there's nothing particularly special about being a female spy. There are plenty of them.
Yep.
Trying to make it a point, it just defeats its purpose, in my opinion.
Agreed.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Okay.
Zam, go on.
Okay. For me, just taking the politics out of it, just straight up watching the trailer, it looks fucking shit. Nothing about this appeals to me. Charlie's Angel, you're seriously rebooting Charlie's fucking Angels? Are you having a laugh? Are you that desperate for an idea that you have to go down this avenue? Regardless of the politics, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, obviously, I garner it's a shit film by the reviews. Yeah, is that what the review thing? Yeah. I'm glad I'm going with my instincts. If the reviews are if the reviews are wrong, for instance, what's that movie with The Rock and Jumanji? It was great finding out that film was actually good. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I like Jumanji.
Yeah, but initially when you saw the trailer, I mean, it looked shit. I'm not.
Yeah.
It looked generic
Yeah,
and
but
shit.
it turned out to be a really good film. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
but it wasn't giving you the full context on
No, that-
the
Which was good. That was a good right thing to do.
yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. But I first of all looked at the trailer. Shit. Reviews. Shit. I'm done. That's it. I don't give a fuck about the politics of it all. I am done. Yeah, that's all I need to know. I don't want to watch it. I don't waste my life with 90 minutes of this bollocks.
All right.
Yeah.
So we have 2 gaming topics.
Hey, hold on. I got something I want to say.
Let him say. Let him talk.
So I really feel like there was a missed opportunity to rebrand here. WWE Studios presents Memories in the Banks.
Ooh.
What the fuck did he just say?
Ooh.
It's a yeah.
Oh, good.
The
I have
memory
spoken.
slam.
I have spoken.
Okay. Thank you
Moving
for
on.
your 0 contributions, Jason. That was very insightful. Not. Anyway, I don't consider Call of Duty a video game. I think it's for casuals. However, Brandon wanted to talk about the cross-platform thing, and I think that it's a positive thing, generally speaking. What the fuck is going on with Zam? He just left.
He tilted his camera up and he just disappeared.
Yeah.
He has gone into the nether realm.
I think he went to poop. Anyway, yeah, I like the idea of cross-platform games. Like, I wish they would do it in more games. But Call of Duty, I don't consider a game. It's for casuals. You guys discuss.
I disagree about the casual part, but let's get onto the topic of cross-platforming. I like it as well. I think that ever since the day, especially nowadays, with everyone buying a different system, like there's nothing more frustrating to go out and buy a game on like PS4 or Xbox One and then find out that all of your friends are playing it on a different system, or someone is playing it on a different system, and it's like, oh god damn it, I wish I could play with them. And to have a network
Capcom, ESO, remember?
Right. There are 2 things. Well, exactly. That's exactly it. There are 2 things that I think this helps with. 1, it helps people connect. 2, it makes it a lot easier on your servers, because even though you've got more people coming in, the Xbox, PS4, and PCs don't all have to have their own separate servers. Everyone can connect to universal broadband. And I think that's a lot better because, in all honesty, let's face it, consoles nowadays are not what they used to be. It's all pretty much the same thing unless you actually go to something unique that they come out with, which I doubt they will. I mean, the specs are around the same, the style's the same, unless you're talking Nintendo Switch, but even then, I don't even consider that a console. I consider that more of a advanced handheld. But when it comes to consoles nowadays, they're pretty much all the same. So what's really the point in even having 2 consoles? So in all honesty, I think cross-platforming is a nice gig because it allows people to be, to buy what they want, but still be able to play with each other even if they don't have the system, and you're not forcing people to go out and buy a new system just for one game or for a couple games. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally in for cross-platform playing. Makes it easier when some of your mates are on PC. Nobody really plays Xbox in the UK, to be honest, so that's not a problem. But for me, Xbox in the UK barely sells. It's PlayStation and Nintendo over here. But like for me, like me and Zam have discussed this before. Like console gaming is dying. Gaming is dying.
Yeah,
it's mostly garbage these days. Jedi Fallen Order is the first game I bought and that I've actually enjoyed this year. The other 2, Division and Anthem. No.
You played Red Dead Redemption 2?
That was last year that came out.
Oh.
Yeah, it's been out for a long time.
Yeah, that came out last year. That don't count.
Well, I don't pay attention to shit games. Sorry.
Yeah, but there are certain games that I feel like every game that has online mode should be cross-platform.
Agreed.
And it should be a law brought in to force them.
It really should
force these companies to abide by consumers' will to do it. Because then, like I said, something like Gang Beats or obscure games that one friend would have on a PC that I'll have on a PlayStation because it's cheaper on there. It's like sale or whatever, or vice versa.
Not only that, it might actually encourage game companies to actually start making decent games rather than start making garbage because everyone's seeing it. So
Exactly.
It would also help game companies out because now more people can play your games without having to be limited to a console or to a PC. Especially when you cross-platform with console and PC. That's a big one.
Here's the thing, though. This might discourage exclusives, and the thing is, exclusives are. I have a mixed feelings about them because usually they're pretty damn good games.
Well, the thing about exclusives is that one, literally 9 out of 10 games that say they're exclusive are technically not exclusive because they're for another system anyway. And two, when you have an exclusive game that's only for one system, it's showing most people when they see that, they say, oh, well, that's literally just Xbox or PlayStation forcing me to buy their console if I want to play their game. But most of the time when you have a game that's supposed to be only one platform, it's usually not. Like, even the games that are out right now that are one platform, we know they're not going to be one platform. Because any game that comes out for the consoles will usually either come out A, for the other console, or B, for the PC. So it's not just one platform anyway.
Usually there's...
You might get a couple of, like, pure exclusives.
Yeah, a couple, but usually it's very small.
And Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Nintendo has that thing where they do kind of do exclusives for them, but in that situation, you've got, like, I think you've got kind of a unique setup, and even then, Nintendo kind of does this thing where if you've got one of their old consoles, they'll release a lot of games for their old console and their new console. So even then, it's technically not one platform, but I think Nintendo is starting to go towards that, which could be bad or could be good for them. We'll see. But with what they've got, not only that, they always sell. Usually after a few years of having a console out, Nintendo is pretty notorious for selling their stuff for really dirt cheap, which is kind of nice. So it makes for everything a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else got anything
Jason,
to add?
Sam, anything to add?
I like the idea of it, but I haven't got much to add. I haven't really done much cross-platform gaming because it's not really out there. So let's see what happens.
Okay,
Alrighty.
let's move on to the top 5 then.
Don't you want to talk about the Fallen Order?
Not really.
Okay, fuck it.
It's fallen.
Okay, so give me a second to load
here we
the
go.
fucking thing.
We're not going to talk about the Mandalorian.
Oh, fuck it! No, we aren't. You can
Damn,
do that.
let's do a show.
You can
after
do
this.
that
Let's just
separately if
pre-review.
you want. But yeah.
Okay.
And we'll actually put the topic in the title and get more viewers.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and all
you're gonna
the
get more than
hashtags.
one. Okay, yeah, whatever.
Dude, no, there was a ton of people watching it.
Stop. Do the thing.
Fucking hell, you played it too long, bitch.
Well, yeah, Manicam was fucking up. What can I say? So yeah.
Okay. Well,
Take it away, Zam.
it's been pretty much a Star Wars show today, so I'm going to keep it on Star Wars because I know Chris loves it. So my top 5 will be the top 5 Star Wars prequel characters. And we're going to start off. I'm actually going to make a slight replacement because at number 5, I initially had General Grievous, played by Matthew Wood. And even though he's a good character and he's a memorable character, I'm actually going to replace him with a way more memorable character in Yoda, played by Frank Oz. And the reason being is because Yoda in the prequels was way more fleshed out. He wasn't just a little comical character. You had a lot more respect for him in the prequels. But everyone had respect for him in the prequels. We got to see him fight in the prequels, and his fighting style was absolutely amazing. So I just wanted to ask you guys, what do you think of Yoda in the prequels of Star Wars? I'll start off with you, Ginge.
The little spastic jumping around fucking frog thingy. That was
Yeah, if you can just get my gaze off-
Yoda is a character that is beyond a lightsaber. Okay, even when it came to him using the Force in some parts, he still came across as weak, and I just it bugged me. It was just like I don't know. I just didn't like seeing Yoda jumping around like he should be someone that when he walks into a room, the Sith shit their pants because they're like, this guy could bring down this entire building with his sheer will, and you never got that essence from there, from that. So for me,
Well done, Chris, great stuff there, by the way. Yeah,
What?
nothing. Okay, let's go.
so yeah, for me, it's just I mean, everything really bugged me about the prequels, but yeah, that kind of the lightsaber fights with Yoda, just yeah, I don't think he should. There's some Jedis that should be beyond that. That's my thoughts.
Right. Brandon, what do you think of Yoda in the prequels?
I kind of agree with that. I mean, I do like to see, the fighting style he did have, but there were two things that bugged me about it. One is that we only got to see him fight a couple times, and the only real fight scene that I think was really good with Yoda was when he fought Darth Sidious in that setup. Because when I first saw him fight with Count Dooku, this is Yoda. He is really, really good. He is like one of the most badass, motherfuckers on the universe.
Yeah.
And when you were watching the fight scene, it looked like Count Dooku was just very nonchalantly blocking his stuff. And like if you watch the fight scene closely, he's just like, and I'm like, what? He should be kicking his butt. And there's a lot of instances that happen in the expanding universe in the books. For example, there's this one chick, I can't remember what book she's from, and I wish I could remember it, but she had this whole thing where she'd walk into a room, she'd snap her fingers, and your lightsaber would deactivate. And it was like she had that much precise control over the Force that she could literally just turn people's crystals off. And I wanted to see something with Yoda where, like, yeah, when he walks into a room, he doesn't even have to draw his sword. He just, like, you go to attack him, he's just like, nope. There was actually a scene in with Yoda done in Soul Calibur where he made a guest appearance in the Xbox Soul Calibur version, and there's this
as well. PlayStation.
There's this big guy named Astaroth, and he's swinging this giant battle axe at Yoda, and Yoda's just like, no. I mean, I wanted to see that.
Yeah,
fair enough. Roberto.
Yeah, I was in my circle of friends back when the prequels were coming out. I was the only one who hated the whole Yoda fight scene. Everybody loved it. And I'm like, all he did was jumped around and do. And again, to Ginger's point and everybody else's point, really, like Dooku was just like, "Oh, I am fighting very civilized with this CGI monster here," and it's just like, that was one of the. Attack of the Clones is by far my least favorite movie.
Mine too.
Out of any Star Wars, any.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
agreed.
Yeah. And I mean that just I was like, I want to end agreeing with you guys. I wanted to see more from Yoda, not just a bunch of flips for 30 seconds. Because if you time that scene, it's like 30 to 45 seconds, and then Dooku tries to pull the thing down on them, and then he has to stop it. It's kind of like,
you made a good point with the scene there because, like you said, like he escapes the scene by dropping the thing on, or Obi-Wan and Anakin, and then Yoda's like, oh my god, and I'm like, wait a minute, wouldn't Yoda just be like, and then go back to just fighting? It's like
exactly like,
and that's a great opportunity right there.
Sorry, that point is when they're fighting and Count Dooku's about to strike down the Jedis, and you hear Yoda approaching. Count Dooku should have run away because that shows you the fear that the Sith have for Yoda and his power. Because then that leaves you wanting more to see what is this guy truly capable of.
Right, and Dooku didn't even break a sweat. He just kind of looked and was like, "Oh hi, Yoda." It's like, dude, seriously?
Okay, now
However-
outside of the fight scenes, then.
I-
All right.
that's what I was-
Sorry, go on, Roberto.
No, that's what I was going to get into after we talked about the fight scene. Was I do agree with Zam though that I feel like Yoda's character was more fleshed out in the prequels.
Yep.
Like, I mean, he's
Oh, yeah.
in the Jedi Council and even in Episode 3, he was just very. I felt like we got a little bit more insight into what Yoda was like in his prime. And
I think he was one of the best characters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, in that terms, yeah. Just
And it looks like
Grogu,
Grogu, or like him.
yeah.
Okay, we're going to go on to number 4. Now, number 4 is
Before
somebody
we go,
who.
may I just point out
Yeah.
how you deliberately made a top 5 in which I cannot contribute.
Hell yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
There's
right.
been tons of top 5s that I can't contribute. So sit in your corner.
Not
my fault you don't
in
watch-
top 5s.
You know, not my fault. You don't watch jack shit. So anyway,
Star Wars.
It's not our fault. You're uncultured. Anyway,
Listen, if you
Yeah.
guys did a Game of Thrones top 5, I wouldn't know where to
That's
start
no
from.
call, dude. Jeez.
Anyway, number 4 is Darth Maul, played by Ray Park. This character had hardly any lines, but he's arguably not arguably, he is for a lot of people their favorite thing about the prequels. He was only in one movie. He gets killed off, and then he comes back again because he's so fucking popular. Ray Park is really Darth Maul, not the guy who does the voice for it. And the fighting style, that was one of the most amazing things I ever saw at the time. That was the best thing about Episode 1. In all honesty,
That's the best fight in all of Star Wars.
Yeah,
I
the
would
best
agree with that.
lightsaber duel in all of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it was the only saving grace of that movie. Probably the only thing that makes that film better than Attack of the Clones. But Ray Park, Darth Maul, the character of Darth Maul, if anything, what do you guys think of him? I'll start with you, Brandon.
I'm glad you brought him up because I actually have a lot to say about him. I really liked the fight scene because in the Star Wars mythos, lightsaber duels are not supposed to take very long. So the fact that they went through all that and it was a really intense go-all, there were obviously some mistakes made in the fight, but overall it was just very well shot. And I think it was a really good scene. And because lightsaber duels in most of the Star Wars mythos went very fast, much like, normal sword fighting. It's 1, 2, maybe 3 moves, and then someone would mess up and then you're dead. But the fact that they went on for as long as they did showed that these were, great masters of Jedi and Sith fighting. And ironically, the 2 greatest lightsaber duels in all of Star Wars that I've witnessed personally, in terms of film and animation, ironically involve Darth Maul. Because the first scene I like with Darth Maul is, of course, the Phantom Menace, the final fight scene, which was very good. And then the other fight scene is in Star Wars, I think it's Star Wars Rebels, the 3D animated film between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, when Darth Maul finally suffers his final death for permanently this time.
Yeah.
There's a fight scene where Darth Maul meets Obi-Wan again, and he's like, we're going to do this. And Obi-Wan's like, okay. And this is Obi-Wan when he's on Tatooine, when he's, older, when he's got a lot more skill. And the fight scene literally only lasts seconds, but it's one of the most beautifully shot fight scenes I've ever seen. And once again, it involves Darth Maul. So 2 of the greatest fight scenes I've ever witnessed in Star Wars involve Darth Maul, animated and non-animated.
Okay, Penny, what do you think of Darth Maul?
Well, the saying goes, less is more. And that's what you got with Darth Maul. Less is more. He didn't have to do much. He had a cool look. He had a very cool look.
Yeah, he kind of had.
From martial arts.
And they hired a fantastic martial artist to play him. And it was great. He was a proper menace. They didn't know what to expect from him. Double-bladed lightsaber. And yeah, my favorite Star Wars duel in all of the films is Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul. I absolutely love it. Not just the battle itself, but the music that accompanied it. The Duel of Fates, fantastic. So yeah, I absolutely love Darth Maul. I read, I think, one of the comics from Dark Horse he was in. So yeah, it was a very good, great character.
Before I go on to you, Roberto, I just want to also add that the problem with bringing Darth Maul back is that you're bringing him back in animated form. I want Ray Park back. That's what people want, really.
Yeah,
the
agreed.
the actor who plays him, playing him again. And we're not getting that. We kind of got a tidbit of that in Solo.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
I mean, but
That's not going to happen now.
Yeah, which is a
Well,
shame. Really. Ray Park.
One second.
So
might happen in the Kenobi. You never know.
They already said that they're doing.
Because they haven't met. I mean, they didn't know, because of Rebels, which is canon now. So
yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Roberto, what would you like to say about Darth Maul?
Just following up on what Ginger said. They are talking about doing a. They are talking about doing a Darth Maul, or what was his organization called? I don't Rising Sun or Red Sun,
something like that. Crimson Sun or something.
The Mandalorian.
Yeah, they are talking about doing that on Disney Plus. So I mean, they're talking about bringing Ray Park back. So that's
they had him in the Solo film. So
yeah. So I mean, Darth Maul, I agree. I'm someone who has only watched the first 2 seasons of Clone Wars. So my experience with Darth Maul is all Phantom Menace, and I agree with Ginger. Less is more. He was menacing. That fight scene was amazing. I have seen the Obi-Wan versus Maul rematch, what little that was. And I liked it. I think it was a great send-off where it shows, even though Obi-Wan's been on this desert planet, he's not getting rusty. He's getting stronger because he's more focusing inward rather than, everything. And as I said, the less is more. And I don't know. I mean, that's really it with him and me. As I said, I haven't seen him in Clone Wars, so I don't have much to go on that.
Okay, well, number 3 is somebody who, in my opinion, his character ended up taking over from Jar Jar Binks in episode 2. Because the rumors were that Jar Jar Binks was the secret Sith apprentice.
He still is.
Darth Sidious.
Still is.
But the people around at the time didn't want George Lucas to go that direction. And they twisted his arm enough for him to create a new character, and that character was played by the legendary Christopher Lee. That character is Count Dooku. This guy stole Anakin's thunder because he was a fucking Jedi turned Sith before Anakin was, which was the bad thing about this character to a degree, unfortunately. But nevertheless, he turned Sith before Anakin. He stole his thunder. He's Count Dooku, played by one of the greatest actors of all time, in Christopher Lee. Roberto, what do you have to say about Dooku?
I mean, don't most Sith start out? I mean, maybe not in the Old Republic. I know that in the Old Republic, but in the New Republic, in the prequel era and beyond, they are
intervene. We're talking about the Rule of 2 period now. Yeah. Where they were getting their own people, where the Sith were recruiting their own. They had no interactions with the Jedi for almost a millennia. Come on, you should know this shit. Anyway, continue.
No, I really don't, because I'm not big on the expanded lore of Star Wars.
All right. Well, this thing, millennia was mentioned in the movies. Continue.
Anyway, but I feel like, to your point about Dooku, like he'd been the first. I thought all of the Sith in that era had been Jedi turned Sith, but whatever. I don't know. I mean, dude was good. He was a good villain. He was a good vice for Anakin to go up against episode 2 going into episode 3. I know why they killed off Dooku in the beginning of episode 3, but I kind of wanted more Dooku. And I mean, we did get that in Clone Wars, but at the same time, I feel like it was a waste of a great villain that could have, if they would have brought Dooku in episode 1 somehow, he would have been through the entire trilogy and then kill him in the beginning of episode 3. I just feel like we didn't get enough of him.
Well, the villain ended up being Anakin Skywalker, which is why you couldn't have Dooku being the villain, because Anakin was the villain. He took over. It made sense to get rid of him.
At the end, though.
Yeah, at the very end. I mean,
kill Dooku at the end.
No,
at the beginning
became the villain at the end.
Exactly. He ended up taking over at the end, but it was good that he got rid of Dooku early so we could have the story arc. Now, before I pass it on to one of you two guys, I just want to say that the fucking Clone Wars has ruined the interactions between Count Dooku and Anakin and Obi-Wan, because in one of the episodes of Clone Wars, fucking Anakin has Dooku on his knees with both lightsabers around his neck, just like he did in episode 3. But he doesn't kill him this time, obviously. So he had Dooku beaten already when they fought again in episode 3. Don't like shit like that. They really
That's
stuff
why I
like
didn't
that
like Clone Wars. It bugged me.
Clone Wars has ruined some of the shit in between because was the stuff like that. Anyway, Ginger, what would you like to say about?
I didn't care for Dooku. It was fine, you know. It's just nice seeing Christopher Lee in a fucking Star Wars film. But I'm indifferent to him, to be honest.
In what way?
Any more to say?
No, go for it.
Go on, Brandon.
I kind of agree. I would have liked to see Christopher Lee in the first movie as well, and see him throughout all 3 movies, and then see him die at the beginning of episode 3. I think that would have worked a little better. Remember, there are 2 Clone Wars series. There was Star Wars Clone Wars, the animated, then there was the small mini-series done by Genndy Konokoski, the guy who did Samurai Jack. And that was amazing. That was a good Dooku. Same voice, too. And... I'm sorry. It was a different voice actor who did him, but he was so good. He was so good at doing the voice. That interpretation, what we saw of Dooku in that little mini-series, that was beautiful.
Sorry, just 1 second to interject. That whole Tartakovsky series was better than all of the prequels combined.
Agreed. And it was. That was a really good interpretation of Dooku. But other than that, I don't have too much to say about him. I think that there is one problem I have with his character. He was kind of just thrown in. Like, that's it. Like, we literally...
Exactly what he was.
Yeah, we're literally like, hey, and then it's like, wait, who's this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, you're what? Huh?
When did he turn?
Yeah, it's like
10 years between Maul and...
It's like
why I took him out of my list.
Like that was the thing, is that I kind of wanted to hear more about his character in the movies. I wanted to know more about him rather than just having a little quick dialogue that lasted for 2-3 minutes.
Brandon, in the expanded universe, sorry, Roberto, I'll get to you. In the expanded universe, he fell to the dark side after he found out Qui-Gon died, which is allegedly, so you know. Roberto, what would you like to say?
Well, and that's actually the exact point. I would have loved to have seen him in the first movie to see some interaction with Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that you know, when we found out that he was Qui-Gon's master, it's like, well, crap, why didn't we see anything or hear anything about that? So that's it. I mean, and why is he called Count instead of Darth? I don't even that's what I know it's a petty thing, but it's like, be consistent, for crime and
I think they're paying homage to the fact that he used to be Dracula. But anyway,
that's exactly why.
Yeah.
Even if it was a little 5-minute scene with like him and Qui-Gon just being like buddy buddies, you know, that could have been a nice little push point.
Yeah, totally.
Now, number 2 and number one and number 2. I couldn't really decide which one I wanted to be number 1 and number 2, but number 2 in this particular instance is Obi-Wan Kenobi, played by Ewan McGregor. This is some big shoes to fill for a guy who was relatively new on the scene, only done a couple of films like Shallow Grave and Trainspotting prior to taking on arguably the biggest role of his career at the time. And he took it like a duck to water. He was just a small bit part character in Phantom Menace, but then he grew into like arguably the main role characters in or the leading characters in the second and third film. Ewan McGregor's led a fantastic career. He's a renowned actor, and he will be coming back as Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Obi-Wan series to be on Disney Plus in a couple of years. So what do you guys think of Obi-Wan Kenobi, played by Ewan McGregor in the prequels? I'll start with you, Brandon.
Obi-Wan's always been one of my favorite characters. I love the idea of a Jedi who's just kind of that cocky, kind of, you know, like, hey, hello there, you know, kind of, hello there, kind of guy. Like, I've always liked his character, even from like even the old days of Star Wars. I've liked the setup, but Ian McGregor really brought him out, and I think his character is hilarious. Like I said, I've liked his character, and overall, I think the character that he brought to Obi-Wan at least the direction they went was a nice touch. And yeah,
Brandon,
overall, I just have nothing but good things to say about it.
do you realize that he was a Padawan in episode 1? He wasn't a Jedi Knight. He was just he definitely was a Padawan.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Mhm.
So he jumped from fucking being Padawan straight to being Master. You know, he didn't even fucking be a Jedi Knight. All right, you're 1 minute you're Padawan. You killed fucking Darth Maul. Boom, you're a fucking Master. I mean, any Jedi ever done that? Into your knowledge?
But they already said that he was already ready for the trials and everything like that.
Yeah, but
He was ready to go.
There's 4 or 5 stages in Jedi's. Yeah, you start off as a youngling. Yeah, then you're a fucking Padawan. Then you're a knight. Then you're a master. And if you're one of the best ones, you end up being the Grandmaster. That's how it rolls. Just so you know.
And the I think the thing about Obi-Wan's station at episode 1 was he was close to taking the trials, because the Jedi would have trials to become a knight.
Yes.
Once you go from apprentice to knight, and he was close to doing that. Like he was ready to go. Like he was, it was the day before the test, if you will. Mm-hmm. And then when he defeats the Sith, who literally killed Qui-Gon, who was a master at the time, mm-hmm. They just kind of, they said, you don't even have to take the trials. You've proven yourself. I think that that is an impressive step. I think the more impressive step about Obi-Wan is the fact that he was in the later movies, they showed that he took on the role very quickly. Like, for example, he hadn't been a knight or the role of knight that long, and he took to it very quickly. He took on the responsibilities and the knowledge, and even taking on his own Padawan right off the bat, which that, in of itself, in my opinion, is more impressive and more rare thing for Obi-Wan, is the fact that literally the first thing he does after being appointed to a new station with all these new responsibilities, and he takes on an apprentice. Like, bam, he just adds on, and he does it very well. And
he was too young to train Anakin, in my opinion, which is why they were more like brothers than father and son. And I think that's what led him to the dark side.
I think that's an interesting one. That one we'd be here for like 8 hours talking about why he went to the dark side. But I think what that dynamic was, at least for Obi-Wan's character, since we're on Obi-Wan's character, I think that was a nice niche for it, is that he took on the responsibilities, and it may have led to a dark decision or a dark thing in the future. But to me, that's what really impressed me about Obi-Wan, was his willingness and his ability to adapt to his stations given to him almost immediately.
He was at the tail end of being a Padawan, wasn't he? Anyway, Ginger, what would you? Have I asked you already?
Yeah, I loved him. It was my favorite character in the whole prequels. I thought he was the only one that develops really, really well throughout, from start to finish. And the bit where he loses Anakin, you feel that raw emotion come out of him. He was the only person that was able to take George Lucas's garbage and turn it into something like viable and relatable, so to speak. So yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite characters. My favorite in the prequels, and I'm so looking forward to the series. It's the only series linked to this timeline that I've ever wanted. I didn't care about anything else, but this one is what I've wanted. I can't wait.
Going on about the series, I'm just a bit upset the fact that they're gonna have it begin in the middle period of his time in Tatooine. So it's far enough away from the prequels, but not close enough away from the original trilogy. It will be probably a unique story. And for me, I don't really want that. I want the whole caboodle from the moment he fucking gives away the baby to the fucking Owen family, or the last family, whatever the fuck their names are. Yeah, right up to the point where he goes like that with the cane.
Yeah, but you're seeing like, but like I said, like you're seeing with the Mandalorian, you're getting flashbacks. So you'll likely get flashbacks with this.
I hope so. Roberto, what were you going to say? Roberto?
Jason.
Sorry, it just came back on.
No shit, in your brain as well. Ewan McGregor.
No, I know.
Ben Kingsley.
I was waiting for my turn and then it froze up for a second. Okay, so I mean, I agree with all of you guys. The best part of the prequels was Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. He did everything. I feel like they need to leave well enough alone, and I'm not excited for the Kenobi series. I mean, I would love to have more Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, but I don't feel like they've left enough room for them to do that. Like, this is going to be an Oliver Queen situation where they're like, oh, he's been on the island for 5 years, but really he's been to China and he's been to Russia, and they can only do so much on Tatooine with Obi-Wan, and that's kind of why I don't want that. Just only because
He's frozen again.
Yeah, sorry. But I just think they need to leave well enough alone. So that's it for me.
Okay.
Like regarding the series, though, it might be just 6 episodes in one season. It might not be several seasons. Personally, I hope it is. But anyway.
Yeah, one and done is fine. You know what I mean? I'll be happy with that.
Anyway, on to the final one. Now, this is the person that I personally thought saved the prequels for me. This guy is a fantastic theatre actor, and he's one of the greatest villains of all time.
Jar Jar Binks.
Ian McDiarmid, who played Emperor Palpatine, #1 in my list of top 5 Star Wars prequel. We got a bit of him in Return of the Jedi, but we got the whole fucking smorgasbord of him in the prequels. And he was one of the best things about the prequels. I love every scene he was in the prequels. You saw him being the master puppeteer, the chess player of creating all of this, the division, being right up amongst all these fucking Jedis, and they're not even knowing that he's a bloody Sith master. Brilliant, loved it. And he was having a ball when he was doing it. See, when he's laughing his ass off and shit fighting Yoda in episode 3, loved it. I love all of it. Every scene he was in was the best. I'm not going to keep going on about him. Roberto, what would you like to say about Ian McDiarmid, Emperor Palpatine in the prequels? Roberto.
Come on.
Something,
got long enough.
Something dark side, something complete. Have we killed that joke yet? I think we have.
Yeah,
you killed that. All right,
so Palpatine, I think, was great. I'm glad they brought the original actor back. He did a great job. I feel like that they missed I feel like what they should have done with this character is made, like there actually be 2 Palpatines, but one was a clone and then the other one was the actual senator. And so then you have but then you also have Obi-Wan and Ben Kenobi. Like you have 2 Obi-Wans too, because they cloned them, and then you had them fighting each other, and then Obi-Wan dies fighting Ben Kenobi, and then that's why Ben goes into exile, and then you got Sith Palpatine, or Darth Sidious defeating what's his nuts, or killing what's his nuts and taking over for the Empire. I don't know. We lost Ginger.
Yeah, I think
man down.
He said, I don't like this idea. I'm out.
I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm like, I'm bamboozled by all the shit that's coming out your mouth right now. But if you don't mind, I was going to quickly jump into Brandon. What would you like to say about Ian McDiarmid, who played Emperor Palpatine in the prequels?
I would like to say no. I'm just kidding.
You're proud,
He can do it.
Do it. Loved him. Like I said, I agreed with everything he said. Great character, great actor. I love the way he was portrayed, because it was truly Darth Sidious and him that made the memes of Star Wars. And I think his character was really good. In all honesty, even though his story was told in the books, in the expanded universe, I would have loved to see that on a media adaptation, to see Darth Sidious's backstory. And overall good character.
Like little things like when those 4 Jedis, including Mace Windu, who didn't get on my list because I thought Samuel L. Jackson's acting was awful in the prequels, but nevertheless, that moment when those 4 Jedis walk into his office and they arrest him, and he goes to him, "Are you threatening me, Master Jedi?" The way he said it, like real, like, don't fuck with me. I mean, he was so convincing when he was being threatening, menacing, and then when he's just laughing his ass off as well, it just worked too. Everything about his performance was great. I wanted to see more manipulation of Anakin by him, other than him telling him about the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise. You should have seen manipulation from episode 1, in my opinion. The only thing you got in episode 1 was him tapping Anakin on the shoulder, saying, "We'll be seeing how your future goes." But there should have been way more in episode 2, way more in episode 3. In my opinion, Anakin should have been fucking Darth Vader by episode 2, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, Palpatine, one of the greatest villains of all time, in my opinion, he's better than Darth Vader.
Agreed.
He's better than Darth Vader, man. I don't know about you, Bobby.
No, Bobby. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think that Darth Sidious is one of the all-time backdoor manipulator players that we've ever had. I mean, granted,
Are you making an insinuendo, Master Jedi? No.
this is not the innuendo you're looking for. But I mean, like, I do, and I agree. As I said, I think I liked episode 1 more than most people, but I do agree in the scope of Star Wars, it was a waste, because really, I believe that we shouldn't have done baby Anakin. I think maybe in the beginning portion of the movie, we should have seen maybe young Anakin getting found, but then moving into his more adulthood in the second half, and then having, the manipulation start. And then at the end of episode 2, we got Darth Vader. And then episode 3 is about...
You know why they probably did that, I bet you. I bet you they did that whole pod racing scene. And then they're like, "Oh, crud, we gotta work around this. Well, let's make him a kid. Let's make this whole setup on Tatooine. And then let's make it go by." Because is it just me? I could be completely wrong. But is it just me, or does that whole thing on Tatooine almost feel inserted into the movie?
It just doesn't feel right, because Obi-Wan said to Luke Skywalker in episode 4 is that when I first met your father, he was the best fighter pilot in the galaxy. Yeah.
I agree.
So obviously that happened near the end, where he fucking did that thing where he destroyed the droid ship in space. But oh god, I mean, like, you're really clutching on hairs with that. The first time he met him was in Tatooine, where he fucking as a little slave kid, and then he did
it's pod racing.
Pod racing ain't fighting. It's being a fighter pilot. It's a totally different thing.
Exactly.
So the stuff like that pisses me off. He wasn't consistent. Anakin should have already been a young person, but the whole beginning of the prequels and the Jedi Order and all that shit, he didn't have to go down this particular route. He could have been a young man joining the Jedi Order and been old enough to learn. We've already proven that fucking someone like Luke Skywalker can learn, almost in his 20s, start beginning in his 20s, learning how to be a fucking Jedi, end up being a fucking Grand Master. So, all this stuff really pisses me off so much.
Indeed.
Anyway, yeah. What happened to
Grandmaster.
Ginger?
I don't know what happened to Ginger, but
Palpatine got him.
Yep.
maybe it's a possibility. It's that we have to explore, because he's not typing fast enough. What a cunt. Avenge me.
No.
Oh god.
We won't-
Internet disconnected.
Well,
Oh,
I guess we're gonna wrap it up then.
Yeah, it's fine.
well, shit. Tough luck. Not coming
Mhm.
back, though it's being weird. Okay, he's not coming back, so I guess run the outro or whatever.
Yeah, no problem. I'll say goodbye to everyone. Well, thank you very much for joining. Have a nice day. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow us. We're going to try and be here as much as we can. And we love you all. Take care. Goodbye.
Bye.